Brought to you by Sayge Media.
Yeah, this is the show before the show.
You've been recording?
No, I just started recording right as we stopped talking about anything mildly entertaining.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
We've got a great show lined up for you.
Tequila's a whole different kind of drunk.
That's a dumb stripper.
They're always stupid.
Good point.
Who are those guys?
You just reach your arm in there and give it a couple of tugs. And
How do you give someone an IOU for a shit in the mouth?
They just keep telling the story.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
boo bop, diddly bop, pop, pop, boom.
How'd all you people get in my house?
It's half Jaeger and it's half rhinoceros piss after he's ate asparagus.
Who's in here eating chips, taking a shit?
What the hell is wrong with you people?
Is that the sign here?
Yeah.
I gave you a signal.
I'm used to being on the screen. We're live, everybody. This show won't be live. They'll still hear it recording.
Well, every
we're
time we
all
do it
together
live.
in the.
Don't we record live every time we
We'll
record?
just go live.
I mean, we're not
Well, I
broadcasting.
mean, like in person. What do you?
So
wanna
this
call
is just another recorded version.
Yeah.
We're just doing it somewhere else.
Yeah,
Or live in person.
we're
Yeah,
all
that's true.
together. I
Yeah.
guess is the way what I'm looking
Three
for.
amigos,
It's not
yeah.
really a homecoming episode like we've had before because
No, because normally you're coming down
I
to
usually
Georgia.
which is
This is an away game for us.
Yeah.
way game.
a
So my
home
buddies
game
here
for
have
you.
traveled all the way up from Georgia here to Pennsylvania. They wanted to
For everyone keeping track of
try to
the
see
countdown
what's
we've
going
had.
on here. Check
Had
out
a
the
countdown last
compound.
couple episodes.
Yeah.
Join the cult.
That's nice up here, dude.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's not too bad. It's not too cold tonight. We're currently recording around 5:30ish in the evening, a little after
we should
Halloween.
say, I mean,
and-
we're sitting here at your bar. We talked about
Yeah.
you building this
Pallet
pallet bar on the show.
Yeah.
We're sitting here in the bar right now, dude. This kicks ass.
It's more awesome in person than the pictures.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's rules.
Yeah, pictures don't. I don't actually think they do it justice either. Like
Nope.
when I send it to y'all, and then I was like, wow, I should have probably just waited, like you not see
Yeah.
any of
Yeah.
it at all.
Well, like Tina was
but-
asking about it. I sent her some pictures, and I thought the same thing. I was like, damn, that doesn't look nearly as cool in
Yeah.
the picture as it does
Yeah.
here. You know, it looks really nice.
It's been a lot of work. I'm glad you guys are up here. I haven't done much with it because this was sort of like in my brain. It became the bar christening night.
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like we got some people coming over to have some drinks and kind of kick this off. Between working all summer, all the work in the podcast that we've done all summer, like this was always going on behind the scenes, like putting all this stuff together, putting the lights up and adding the windows to the fence and like all these little details and stuff. And so it's become such a thing that like when you guys go home, I can't tell you the measure of depression and lack of focus and what do I
You've had
do
something
now?
working towards this whole time.
yeah.
Now what?
Now what? This is going to be like it's probably what they it's probably the closest I'll come to like the NFL feeling like you've won the Super Bowl and then but then like after you've had that parade and everything, it's like, well,
You're not going to
what do
Disney
I
World.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
No Disney World.
Yeah, you don't have a ring to show for this one.
You guys will go back to closer to Disney World than I'll be in the next one. Yeah, this was really cool. I know we've kind of counted down to you guys coming up here to do everything. I appreciate you guys making that trip.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Whitman, I'm glad you didn't get pulled over.
Legitimately,
side.
when I was
Back
standing there
track.
and you were like, what are you doing? When I had just left the shit right there on the little whatever it's called at the airport.
The little scanner thing.
Yeah, the little scanner thing.
X-ray.
I wasn't paying attention to the other bag, and you're like grabbing shit. You're like, what are you doing? I was looking at the little monitor that they had. I was very sure that my bag was coming through with all the equipment, and we were about to have a huge problem. And that's why I was just froze. I was just sitting there looking at that, like, motherfucker, I'm gonna have to deal with
Yep.
this. I was just looking at the thing there.
Mr. Random Security
Yeah,
Check.
I know. Well,
Yeah,
and
we talked
the
about that.
fucking lady at the TSA was a pain in the ass too.
Yeah, she was. She was a bitch.
Yeah, like so.
Oh.
I don't think we even told you this.
No,
so
I don't know the story, so this will be great.
They were saying like, don't take off your shoes or belts or any of that shit. Like they weren't
Mhm.
doing that. They said, put your bag up. Don't take anything out of your bag.
Mhm.
So I didn't. So I put the thing like in the little basket. little thing in
The plastic
bin, you know?
case.
Yeah,
bin,
so I threw it in the bin, and she looks at me and she goes, "Don't move." I was like, okay. And I put the bin in there, and I'm standing there waiting. She turns around, and she goes, "Go." Why are you waiting? Like aggressively waves me. Like, what the fuck? You told me don't move yet.
Is this like that red light game
Yeah,
that
like,
we
what the
played as
fuck?
children?
Yeah.
That's
Red
the
light,
person
green light.
waving me through too. They stopped me. Like I was started to walk. They waved me. I started to walk up, and they aggressively stopped me to let some other person through. And then looked at me like, "Why are you not walking? What is happening?"
I don't know the rules.
Go, stop. Go, stop. It's very traumatizing.
How close am I supposed to be to the next person? I don't know the rules. There's no signs.
I'm
They're
hoping
sending
that
people through like in multiples almost. I'm like, this doesn't seem safe.
I know we joked about you guys flying back on like Spirit and Frontier and all that kind of stuff, but you guys
I am
took
flying Spirit.
I hope this is not in memory of us. This
I was just
episode
gonna
is in
say though,
memory-
but you guys flew.
in our memory.
I hope it goes better than Delta treated you on the way up here, though. I mean, your flight came in
Delta
late.
flight was fine.
Yeah.
They dropped you off at the wrong terminal.
No, I think that was the right terminal. Wait, hold on. Also,
Online, that thing you sent me.
oh, it said Terminal B.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I
hold
don't
on.
know
Well,
if that said Terminal B, but when you look it up, it said Delta was supposed to be.
My question is, why is Terminal A here and Terminal B is
wherever the fuck
17
somewhere else.
miles away?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, just a little thing to point out here. If this memory isn't, or if this episode is in memory of us, there's no one to edit it and post it.
You don't have a backup.
No, I don't have a second stringer
So
ready to go.
It's just gonna sit there until like Blair Witch style, somebody finds it.
Yeah, till Ava's like
Yeah.
24 years old or so,
Yeah.
she's gonna pull this
Yeah.
out and like, oh, here's an old
Yeah.
recording.
Oh, it's Daddy.
There's
Yeah.
Daddy,
Daddy.
and
There's
Grandpa.
Papa. There's
Oh.
Papa.
Well, this was disappointing to listen
Who's
to.
that?
I thought
Who's
this
that
would be a lot
idiot they
cooler.
were in though? My dad.
He
She's
told me
gonna
this
be
guy-
all upset and
They
everything.
told me they were cool when they were younger. They're
Yeah.
not cool.
This show sucks.
Why are you so sad, Ava? Well, I got to listen to a lost episode and
Found out.
my dad and Papa spent their last minutes with this weird rambling idiot, and like that was their last time. They were
And none of them are funny.
They
I
were.
heard they had a podcast. I was told it was cool. Turns out they're
Yeah.
fucking losers.
You guys remember when people did podcasts back then? When that was a little thing for everyone that could buy a microphone. Like her generation will be beyond it. They were like, yeah, they were probably the same crowd that watched VHS.
Yeah, this
tapes
is probably
and-
like what were those things called? Those chips you'd put in the fucking like
You like the cartridges?
Yeah.
what the
The
hell were those?
cartridges in an
Yeah.
Atari game
Yeah.
or a Sega. You
No,
know?
I was thinking of
the floppy
floppy
disk.
disk.
Floppy
Yeah,
disk.
floppy
floppy
disk.
disk. Yeah.
Not
So
even
like
the
the-
small ones either. They're like
Yeah.
the 5
The
and a
big fat
quarter
ones,
ones.
yeah.
I really had trouble getting that antiquated board to play back what they had recorded on there. Like I didn't know what to hook it up to. I had to find an adapter. All this stuff like they'll
There's
have
so
no
many
idea how to do
buttons.
that.
I bought it because of the buttons.
And the lights.
Oh, why they had all the lights on there? None of them are labeled for
Lights
anything.
were awesome. Shut
they
up.
didn't know anything what they were doing. I don't know how.
It's like the keyboard on a Star Trek console,
Yeah.
where it's just a bunch of knobs and dials with no labels. And I always used to think, how the fuck do they know
Yeah.
what's what? Because all the dials are exactly the same. And the buttons have no labels.
They always randomly flashed.
It never occurred
like
to
a
me
whack-a-mole.
that it never occurred to me that, you know what? They're not real.
They're not real. Yeah.
They don't do anything.
There's a giant monkey thing flying it. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the things they talk about with Star Trek. They were talking about it's got to be a guy show. It's a dude sitting in his chair with the television so much bigger than people had back in the day when Star Trek came out. Like he's just watching his TV and all that kind of stuff, and got that chair, the captain's chair.
Also,
Captain's log.
you talk about all the blinking lights. Ironically, this thing, they're all different colors. My pads here
Right.
for sounds and everything. I
Mhm.
start our intro every week. They're all different colors so that you know what's what. It's literally color coded. I hit the wrong intro almost weekly. Like-
It's more behind the scenes stuff of how this gets put together.
yeah. Every time they hear the intro to the show, I had to cut out part of an intro to a different show. I fucked up. I hit the wrong thing.
Let's tell everybody what we did when we first got here.
Okay. Well,
flew-
you
the
flew in.
Sopranos stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys flew in
Newark.
to Newark, New Jersey. So
It's such a lovely town.
it's like Philly mini.
Dude, we've talked about the terrible
Little
driving in
Little
Costa
Philly?
Rica,
Yeah.
and Jersey's legitimately, it's given it a run for its
Yeah.
money. I mean,
Yeah.
that was some of the worst driving I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The dude with the mask, with the
A lot of it
the
was the other
eventual
people,
left.
not just you.
Yeah.
Listen, I was reactionary. That's all it was. I was just bouncing off everything else that was going on. So you had the people that like to be right in that middle lane going very slow.
Yeah.
So everybody's kind of flowing
You
one
got
way
to
or
be
the
30
other.
miles an
around
hour
them.
faster than
Yeah.
passing on the right.
Well, also
You had
people that will flip on their left blinker and then
Yeah, the
just
eventual
fly into
left.
the right lane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they would. I'm going. It was like a juke maneuver.
Yeah.
I'm going that way. No, going this way. We're getting
Psych.
juked by one of those guys wearing the mask in the car by
Yeah,
himself.
in the car by himself with a mask on.
So we
flailing all over the fucking place.
And you
The
see him, you're like,
goal-
yep, you're just as stupid as I imagine you would look.
yeah.
Yep.
And
You
you're
drive like an
yeah,
idiot.
I was about
and
to say
now
your
I see
drive-
it's true.
You're driving.
are an idiot.
Hey,
is
there's
adding
Cruiser.
to that.
There's the
Hey,
appearance
puppy
by
dog.
appearance by the dog
Big
that Ryan
dog.
molested.
See, he's doing fine. You see that?
He's walking funny.
Pick your head up, buddy. Pick your head up.
He
People are
limps a little
looking.
bit, you know. Besides the
bow
limp,
legged.
he's good.
I'll tell you what. Flying into Newark, it is looking around. It is no wonder the Jets fucking suck the way they do.
My God. What a fucking
Can you imagine
horrible
if that
town.
was the home of your franchise?
What a horrible town. Now, we did have a...
horrible town.
I'm still trying to figure out
it's,
how, like, you have two New York teams and they share a stadium in Jersey.
Yeah, well, no, the Giants play in New York, don't they?
I think they share that stadium.
Do
like
they?
They're doing.
Hey, why don't you put
don't
the
they?
mic up to your face?
the away,
They used
the
to.
home
You can
and away.
actually hear
Is this
yourself.
better?
And
I could hear myself, so I thought it was fine.
it was just quiet.
I'm kind of low key, kind of laid back
Laid back.
with my mind and my money and my money on my mind.
So,
So we
Are you
wanted to
happy
do.
now we have copyright infringement?
the
You're not allowed to say the stuff. Jesus Christ! I know it was eerily accurate.
there goes our millions that we were
Yeah.
going to make from this episode.
Everyone thought Snoop was right here. Now I got to cut that all out.
Now we got to cut him a check.
Great. Get on that.
So tell him about the...
So we
tour.
wanted to see. Well, we got to talk about the start of the tour,
right.
So we decided to take a look at some Sopranos. I went online and figured we come into New Jersey. We're all three. I don't know how much you are actually, but Nick and I were huge fans of the Sopranos when it first ran. Like I would drive out to his place every Sunday. It was Sunday evenings.
Yeah,
right?
we started on. I
Yeah.
started on episode 2, and then I had to go back and watch episode 1.
Yeah.
I mean, we had
Yeah.
entire Sopranos episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Like it's been pretty well documented.
Yeah.
Sopranos are big.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
big-
That was. I mean, like I know it's almost cliche now where they talk about like that kicked off all this great
It really did,
television
though.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's been, told to death on that part. But I'm just saying, we're also recording outside at the pallet bar. I
Yeah.
did not build a pallet bar in my. Meow. Every now and then, like somebody will go by that knows me, and I'll hear this Ryan. But yeah. So being big fans of the show and stuff like that, I thought Jersey's not that far from here, and they filmed on location. So to add to this trip, wouldn't it be cool if you guys flew up there? I figured I'm fine with you guys flying another 45 minutes than the other closest airport. And then you fly in there, and then since that was filmed up on,
Now it's the fucking train in the background.
Also, if I could say real
Mm.
quick, I don't hate Jersey quite as much as you do. I think there is something about New York and New Jersey that is pretty cool to me that I think you're just like, this
I
place
love
is
New York.
fucking
but
trash.
New York didn't look like that.
No. I know, but there is still like New York is really, really awesome, but there's still trash all over the place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think there's a part of that I can get over that I still
Well,
think is
Jersey
pretty
was
cool.
filthy
that,
too,
like-
though.
No, I know Jersey's.
I mean, it wasn't Philly
It's
filthy,
worse
but it's
than no, it's not Philly. It's worse than New York. I'm just saying, but there
Philly
is something
light.
about like
yeah.
I think I can look over all the bullshit on the ground of New York where you're like, see this right here. These people suck.
I'm just saying
You know?
you couldn't pay me enough to fucking live there. You just couldn't. I mean, it's not really
Yeah.
the people. I'm sure the
Yeah.
people are cool and nice and everything. In
Yeah.
fact, we met a few. And they were all nice.
Well, I
Yeah,
was going
shout
to
out
get
John.
into that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk-
that's what I
well,
want to
no,
say. That's what I was saying.
Ryan
We
got
were,
the tour, yeah.
we were going to our first location, and that wound up being a little bit more difficult than
Satriali's Deli.
Satriali's Deli is.
Did we ever
hey,
actually
it's-
see it?
Yes, 7 times.
That was the story we're going
we saw
with.
it 7 different
I mean,
times
we
in
probably did
7
see it a
different
lot of
locations.
Yeah.
We didn't know what it was
Yeah.
when we passed it. Let's
You
put it
wouldn't be
that way.
surprised like how many things look just like it,
Exactly
but
like it,
there
yeah.
might be a difference.
Well, that's got to be. It's not.
That's not it. That,
Also,
that could have been it.
the driving tour things
Yes.
did not do a good job of telling us.
No,
where it was.
no. I'm not plugging those websites. They're not getting any business from
Well,
us.
if I could attack one of them though,
Okay, we can do that.
I think it's very stupid that they put so many disclaimers about spoilers on the Sopranos driving tour. Like anyone's fucking looking it up that isn't aware of how the show goes.
Yeah. You're gonna go see.
Huh. Never heard of the Sopranos thing.
Yeah, like,
let's
what
go.
But I think I'll
let's
go
fly
see
all the way into
everything.
Newark so we can get a tour on a show that we've never seen
I
before.
hadn't hit it.
And if you
3
live there-
times.
And if you live there and never followed the Sopranos, then you're an idiot because that's kind of the only cool
Yeah.
thing they got going on anyway.
Oh, they got the Jets.
Again, that's kind of the only cool thing they got.
According to Archer, Frank Sinatra was born in Jersey,
I think that is true.
Yeah.
Sinatra and Rules
Yeah.
also. So
Yeah. So
so it's got that going.
while
for
we
it,
were, which is nice.
which is nice.
Well, we were looking for that. The other thing that we wanted to do was hit one of the local smoke shops up there.
Yeah.
And that was
for investigative
that was
purposes.
a lot. Yeah.
legal up here. They can't hold
That
us
was a
against them.
lot more easier than finding it was we haven't put it into a GPS. We haven't done anything.
What
It was-
happens? We were looking for Satriales and we
Right.
went past it about 9 times. We were
Yeah.
like, it's supposed to be 100 here, and we're like,
Yeah.
here's 80.
Yeah, we will.
82,
If anybody's ever done this
88,
before,
92,
we were
and then it
looking
goes
for
to-
the Kearney Avenue.
But then it goes
address
from
they
like
give, 101,
yeah, it was 101. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were like 92.
which
There's
it turned out that
97.
had to have been the
Next is
the
152.
firehouse.
It was like-
Also, well, I'm not actually sure how this works. So it's decriminalized in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
And because of that, people have just put up like legitimate dispensaries. It is not legal in either of those places, but because it's decriminalized, you can put it up. And I think it's just kind of up to the cop's discretion
Yeah.
of do I want to have to go through all the paperwork of shutting this place all the way down?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. And because of that, I think they just fucking leave them alone.
which they should.
Which absolutely they should, but it is something that it is technically, it's like buying it is not illegal. Selling it is illegal. And there's storefronts that they're just like, whatever. And just leave it.
yeah.
Like, that's a weird, it's just kind
Like
of a
that
weird
guy.
loophole.
That
there.
guy
Did you-
he never. And a cool guy. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus or anything like that. I don't remember the name of the store. So good luck finding John,
no, we
who
gotta
works
pay
at
that-
the smoke
it's-
shop.
Yeah,
No,
there's-
Well, I don't want to.
Shout out,
I don't
John.
want to. Yeah.
was
Well, I don't want to
John-
throw him under the bus, but like it's like
he was
he
super
didn't. He
cool, though.
didn't
No, he's
like
cool.
card anybody. He didn't see. Are you a
I mean,
Jersey
and-
resident or anything like that? Like they were real cool about it.
Oh, well, that doesn't matter,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah, I
have
guess-
to. There was
yeah, I
It's legal
guess
to
if
do
you
while
can-
you're here. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there
Same.
was a
If we take it on a plane and get busted, that's on us, not him.
But there was a time when you remember those there were like these pills that people were buying at convenience stores for it was basically speed.
They
It
were
was
right
like
next to the
Fin-Fin.
naked lady crack pipes.
Yeah, the fin yeah. That fin stuff. Do you remember that?
that
remember
friends
hearing
is called
about
a throwback.
We used to just crush it up and then
Right.
you'd
Those little white crosses.
yeah, the white crosses, right. And so they became illegal in Florida. And so like I remember being in what's that little town down in South Georgia? Valdosta. Yeah, that's it. I was in Valdosta and I went to get some from a convenience store and the guy's like, let me see your ID. And I was just like, you got to see an ID now? And he goes, well, they drive up from Florida to get this shit and then they take it back and all this stuff. And we have to make sure you're a resident of Georgia. So I kind of thought maybe that would
Oh,
happen.
you have to make sure.
Yeah, I don't think it really works like that anymore. And
Maybe
most of the
just like
places where
right
it's-
on the borders
Listen,
or something like that.
You
Yeah.
saw what it looked like there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've got other things to be concerned about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's not the epitome of
Well, we
of
have this.
crime.
We've
That's
had,
not the
but
epicenter
we've
of
had
crime
that
there.
episode before where we talked about like how much rights the
That
cops
is
had
true.
to
That is true.
confiscated coming over the border,
Right.
into the state. That's why I was kind of
Well-
nervous when we saw the what do you call it, the toll booth thing.
Oh
But
yeah,
it didn't seem
Yeah.
to be like a toll booth. Like
Yeah, you might be
Uh,
getting a ticket in the mail.
yeah. You just went right through.
Yeah, there's that. But I think that they're like changing it up to be some sort of like station where they check to see what you're bringing into
Oh, you get DUI checkpoint.
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Well,
Are you
so
bringing
that's
any of
the-
that smoke shop shit?
So that would be.
We're
the
gonna run our
difference, though.
dog around here.
That would be the difference. Is I don't think they hardened like when I was talking about that it was Seattle was what I was talking about. It was
Yeah.
where my buddy was, but they didn't card him there for anything either because it wasn't Seattle cops that got him.
Right.
It was wherever I don't remember what state they were going to, but they were sitting
At the border.
at the border waiting for as soon as you cross the border, bam, there they are. But it wasn't Seattle. It wasn't Washington police. It was wherever the fuck they were. I don't remember
Right.
which direction they were going, but
Well, that's what I'm saying.
wherever
Like
they were
that,
going,
I thought it was
that.
Oregon. Because Oregon, everything's legal there. So
Yeah,
it's probably like Montana.
Yeah, it was something like that. But wherever they were driving through, it was like,
Idaho. Excuse me, Idaho would be.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
But
it
it
would
was
be
like
Idaho.
Idaho police, not Washington police.
Well, I'll tell you, after living here around about 4 years, this state wouldn't surprise me as being one of those asshole states that
Like hard on it,
watching for you to come over. Like they've been pretty dead set. Like, I mean, New York is above and beside us. Jersey's beside us. I don't know what the laws are in like Maryland and Ohio, but we literally could be surrounded by all these states that you can go buy this shit.
Right.
But
But
we
not
can't
this one.
here. You know, we got to go for a drive or whatever. But
Well, you
Anyway.
can get Delta.
What?
You can get Delta.
yeah,
Delta
the Delta 8 or whatever.
Yeah, Delta's legal.
Oh, I
Which,
guess, no,
in
I
case-
don't know. Like
in
I said,
case-
when we went to that one store down there, I don't think that we didn't check over here.
Well, if anyone asks, all of it's Delta.
All right.
That's on the record. All of it's Delta.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're sitting there. We're trying to find the deli place that was in the show, and we drove past it. I don't know, 5-6 times and trying to see, and
Hey, somebody's here.
we couldn't find it.
I
But
think it's one of
ends up
Candace's.
we're sitting there and we're like, hey, did you say we were looking for a smoke shop? And we literally just parked
Yeah.
right next to one. And I'm trying to remember the name of it.
You got
I
a
don't
picture, didn't you?
remember.
Yeah. Talk amongst yourself. I'll go get it.
So
What? Where is it?
the other
It's in my phone. My phone's up there.
Yeah. the other fun part too was when we went in there, like immediately I had to piss.
That's exactly why. Hold on. That's exactly why it's wrapped around this thing right here at your bar. We got the cords.
the whole board. Where's the board going?
Yeah, we got the cords and everything all wrapped around it. Was that
That's Sergeant Bob.
Is that the singer?
That's the singer.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Does he want to jump on?
He knows nothing about this.
So? He doesn't want to talk.
Let's let him get it set.
Okay.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
All right, we're gonna pause. Let's pause this
let's
episode.
pause this and
we're
we'll pick up where we left off.
all right.
All right.
We're pausing.
To be continued.
Where's the intro? We're not doing any intro for this one.
No, this is the second half. And we're back.
Okay, do the diddly diddly.
Just imagine it.
It just happened. It just happened.
What? Okay, so you can't change it up on me.
I didn't change anything.
We don't have the clip down.
No, I'm saying like I can't just start without the intro here and the
Okay,
intro.
ready?
The build. Yeah.
Pretend you hear.
Okay, so we're back here on the Guys Like Us show.
That's what it took.
You can chop this up however you want it.
No,
Okay.
no, a lot of this is staying.
Okay, so when we last left you off, we were leaving the smoke shop, correct?
We were talking about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Talking
we
about the
were.
smoke shop,
No,
we
no,
met
yeah, we were
John.
just getting to the smoke shop, I believe.
Well, we talked about John and
Not really.
some.
I said shout out John, and then we didn't. The people showed up,
Okay.
so we didn't actually really talk about him.
Okay.
Shout
I mean,
out
there's
John.
not a whole lot to say about John.
No,
I mean, he
there's
was a
not.
good
Well,
guy and everything, but
shout out to John. That's Sin City
Sin City
Smoke
Smoke
Shop.
Shop.
It was a really cool guy. Dude was really cool.
Hey, he was 3 for 3 for us.
yeah, sort of.
Well,
Some
my
of the
stuff's pretty good.
I mean, he served his purpose. Like we got what we thought we were getting, so to speak, right?
Yeah, but
I mean-
we also he gave us a place to eat, and what was the other one?
Yeah.
Oh, and he told us about the
the Sopranos.
Sopranos.
place.
Some of the
Yeah.
Sopranos places,
Yeah.
which we may or may have not.
We're not
found.
sure if we saw or not.
We,
well, that's not John's fault.
we probably
No.
saw it a few times, and it's funny because like you can, if you look it up like through Google Maps, it'll send you one place. If you look it up like on a website, like where to go, there's another place, and then he gave us a total different address.
Yeah.
to put
We'll
in
go
for
to if you're going to go to find Satriali's Deli.
Yeah.
If you
There
Or
is
on-
a Sin City smoke
so
shop.
yes, Sin
Yeah.
City Smoke Shop right next to the spot where it's supposed to be. I don't think we ever actually
Yeah, it's
saw
not
it,
that far from there.
but not far
don't
from the
think-
place they say
It's
it is.
Kearney Avenue.
Kearney Avenue.
Yeah, it's the smoke shop
Go
on
see
Kearney
John.
Avenue.
John was
I
looking
can
at it.
see it on right every time I adjust the faders. I see it distract Ryan. He starts
I know.
focusing in on what I'm doing.
I'm like, do I move my mic again now? Is he trying to adjust to me?
yeah,
Should
trying
I?
to
adjusting you.
adjust
You
to
don't
you.
adjust. I'm adjusting.
Okay. We were like those broadcasters in the 70s reporting football in the booth. And today's game, like a fucking statue with the mic.
You were talking about where the Sin City smoke shop is, and I looked up, and his eyes are just bouncing back and forth between you and looking at the faders. What's he doing down there?
I haven't taken my ADHD medicine since you guys got here. I keep
Good
forgetting
idea
about
too.
that. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to explain to you how like this nipple gets too hard and hurts all the time.
Yeah.
So I just figured I'd live without that while
sure
y'all
I
were
supposed to
wanna
do
know.
that.
It's a side effect.
I don't think it is.
It is.
No, I don't think so. It seems like a problem with you.
Yeah.
You should get that checked out.
It happens when I take that medication.
Well, the question is,
only.
which
No.
nipple is the one that's having the problem? Is it the
Well,
one
I'm
that-
left nippled normally.
Well, what I'm saying is
But-
the left is the right nipple the one that has the problem, or is it the left one? Because if the left one's not getting hard, is it supposed to?
Not like this. I feel
No.
like I could like cut glass
Yeah.
with the right one. Like I could.
Glad we're
Go
on the
out
other
there.
side of the desk. From you.
Yeah. Could feed you guys for a week over here.
I don't think that's supposed to happen. I think that means that side of your body shutting down slowly.
I think so. I think Bell's palsy setting in when I take that fucking medication. Gonna do that thing where like the side of my face starts melting and
Be like Dice.
did he have that?
Yeah.
I just remember like Jim Ross from wrestling.
Uh,
But
Dice Man had had Bell's palsy or something. I think it's actually started to get better somehow.
yeah, like with Jim Ross, like like the first couple of months he was back on the air after, it was just like Jesus Christ, like it's like uncomfortable to watch him, but like after a while,
doing spots like he was.
I don't
going
know
to the
if they
cellar
get-
shitting on
Yeah.
people with Bell's palsy.
yeah, I don't know if
Just
they get
attacking
like
people.
some sort of surgery done to kind
I
of
don't know.
lift it, or if it just naturally starts to. I don't know. If you have Bell's palsy and you want to make a comment in the comment section, feel free. Let us know how that starts to heal itself, I guess. But so we went to see John. We got some directions from him. Sort of worked out. We had a nice lunch, thanks to John at least.
Suppose he's good.
What was the name of
And
that
it was
place?
in that
Something
shop.
fire.
Some
fire
barbecue
pit?
place.
Yeah, the fire
it-
pit. Something?
Fire
what it
pit, I
was?
think it was.
Probably. I'm sure there's a fire pit
Yeah.
barbecue around. If
That's
you're
what
not
it
the
was
right
called, yeah, the
barbecue.
Well,
fire-
I don't
the
want to
fire-
send him to a
I was
shitty
gonna- I was
one.
gonna say if you're not the one we're
Yeah.
talking about, sorry,
Yeah.
everybody. If
And I don't know if that's on Kearney Avenue or not. Like
I don't know.
sometimes the road changes names, even
Yeah.
though you've stayed on it for a while. So, but yeah, there's a fire pit barbecue there that was really good. We got
yeah.
there right as they opened, and
They let us in a few minutes early. Even.
yeah,
yeah, they did.
it was weird. They had a lot of for the shitty drivers. There was a lot of hospitality there that I didn't expect
Yeah.
from Jersey. Like it's
It was like
very
the people
yeah.
were
Individually, people were cool, and even
Yeah.
some of the traffic, they would like stop in a lane and let you go through, so you didn't have to wait on the the train behind them. Some of them would just stop in a lane for no
I was
fucking
gonna say,
reason.
yeah, but they
and
were
just sit there.
inadvertently
But
like fucking up whoever was behind them.
right.
Oh, this guy's gonna come over. I'm gonna stop in the middle of the highway and let him over.
Yeah,
I'll just hit the brakes fully. Fuck whoever's
Yeah.
behind me.
I wish we had gotten the tag number of that one dude with the left-hand blinker,
Yeah.
so we could put that out
Oh
there.
my God.
Somebody'd be able to look him up and give him a big fucking FU when they see him on the road next time. But that was a good time, though. We had a lot of fun.
Well, you couldn't see his
Okay.
face, so it's hard to tell because he had a mask on in the car.
And the
by
car by
himself.
himself.
Yeah, in a karma, and it was one of those oversized masks.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be cutting into his vision.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
it was
his
like the
eyes.
entire
He
face.
looked like he was about to rob a bank.
Yeah, he might have been. He was like practicing his escape route.
getaway.
Get away
Look,
driving.
look, I know I'll fool the cops because I'll put my left blinker on, but then go right. The cops will never see that coming.
When we went
Because we
to,
didn't see it coming when he came over into the light.
Right,
Oh
yeah.
my God, he's going to the right, not the left. Look out!
Jesus.
when we were at Louder Than Life, there was a cop that was doing that. There was a cop in front of us when we were driving back one night. So I was driving and everyone in the car was fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was driving back and like I was sober by the last band. So I was like, all right, I'll do the shitty in and out of all the parking space
Mhm.
stuff down here. And since everyone else
Like
didn't
yesterday morning.
yeah,
Like I was trying to
yeah,
do
it was
this
like
shit.
that. But since everyone knew they weren't gonna have to drive, they were like, sweet. So the whole last band, I'm getting fucked up through that whole band,
Right.
and plus the whole day. And there was a cop that was in front of us that he kept going the wrong way. Like he was taking the same route as us.
Yeah.
Whichever way he needed to turn, it was the wrong blinker. I was like,
Oh,
yo,
Jesus.
what is going on with this dude? And it made me laugh so hard that from the back seat, Taylor just goes, whoa, citizen's arrest, dude. And like, he's all fucked up. He's like, yo, citizen's arrest. He's yelling it from the back.
I'm sure he's
Shut
a
up.
citizen. Is he arresting you for the cop that's following you? So
He's talking
half
about
the
arresting
work
the
will be
cop.
Arresting the cop.
Oh, yeah.
Citizens arrest.
Yeah, citizens arrest, dude.
Citizens arrest. Citizens arrest. I don't know if you remember that Gomer Pyle episode.
yeah,
It was Gomer Pyle.
I think it was too. We
So tell us about the party last night.
Yeah, party was good. Oh, wait, hold on. Were you done?
no.
Oh, my
I
bad.
didn't think so.
Well, we saw a few more things out
I was
there.
gonna say,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
My bad.
yeah.
My bad.
We skipping it. We do
Yeah.
it again.
No, no.
God damn it. when that sound effect gets put in later, they'll understand what that's all about, right? Did y'all find that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, I left here and you guys were trying to
we
figure out
got
how to do it. So anyway, after that, what did we do at Pizza Land?
Yeah.
we
by
drove
the way,
past Pizza Land.
So did you
Past
look
Pizza
at
Land
those
3 times.
pictures that you took before you
yeah,
said
I know the last one. I was trying to take the picture and you drove past it too fast.
both
Was it just
Pizza
blurry?
Lands, it's like
There's
showing
a
the
pizza
pictures.
and a land.
I'm
you gotta
trying
put
to
together.
take pictures out the window, and there's
Yeah.
big fucking hand smudges on the window. And I was too scared to open the window.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't want to get mugged.
Roll them up. Let's see. I guess that would be in the group chat. Talk amongst yourselves here about Pizza Land.
Well, we saw it as we drove past
Well,
it.
we passed it twice before.
Yeah. Yeah, before we realized we had passed it, we passed it twice.
Yeah, I looked up and was almost like, "There's another Pizza Land." Oh no, that was
Oh,
it.
that's
He
the
was just
same one.
speeding past it.
Yeah. So after this, I looked at the first picture, and this is what I got.
Yeah,
It's just an alley?
you went past it so fast I couldn't get. I was trying to get the camera.
And then he was like, "Oh, I sort of got part of the pizza."
If the
Random.
bottom,
Oh, I
if the
know.
bottom half of one of the
Yeah.
Z's.
Yeah. I was like, I think this is Pizza Land.
That's how they did it on the show, though. They just kind of went past it real
Yeah.
quick.
But
Yeah.
you could read the whole
Yeah, I know.
the whole
Yeah.
sign.
It
at
was
least.
a cinematic choice.
Yeah.
It's art,
It was-
asshole.
So if we post these online, I swear to you, that's the Pizza Land that they use in the. I
Intro.
think it's really in the opening credits.
It's in the
isn't it?
intro, yeah.
And then and it's kind of cool seeing that skyline the way he would see. I know he was going through like one of those toll booths or turnpike
in the
things or
tunnel.
something like that. Yeah, to go in the tunnel, but you can still kind of see the same skyline in the background. That was pretty cool.
Didn't they eventually take out the World Trade Towers?
yeah, it was
I'm not talking about the attack. We know that happened. I'm just saying. They digitally. I was wondering if you're gonna catch that.
Yes, they eventually they tried really hard in the early '90s,
But they digitally
they
removed
realized
them
working from the
old
bottom was
episodes.
not the right way.
From the old episodes. They digitally
they had
removed
to
it.
remove them.
Or did they digitally remove it, or did they just take that like 1 second clip out? And then
No,
just,
I think they still had the city.
did they?
City, maybe, I don't know. We'd have to go back
I
and
don't
check.
remember.
I'm
And the
wondering
other
if-
thing I'm
yeah.
wondering is, did they go like all the way back to episode 1?
That's what I was
season
about to
1 and
ask.
Take
Yeah.
that out, or if they
I
just.
wonder if it's different on like
older episodes versus the
well
newer
that,
ones,
but also
yeah.
like a box set. You know, like you can get
Yeah.
the box set of like season
Right,
1
each
through
season,
it.
yeah.
I wonder if like season 1, like if you had like the DVD,
Would it still
it
show
was
on-
in there,
yeah.
and then
I have
it
those
goes away
inside.
at
We
like
can check
season
that
3
too.
or whatever.
I'll check that one day. I have
Yeah.
a box set in there.
Write that down.
And then they have it on HBO Max. So I mean, I don't know if they.
Yeah, it'd be interesting
Make
if
the
they
same
went back
changes.
and did it
Yeah.
on Max
Yeah.
or not.
I remember I want to say it was season 4 that was the first season back after
Yeah, I
that
don't remember. It
happened.
was so long ago.
And they had that scene with Tony and Bobby at that bar, and he was talking about how Nostradamus. Remember, he got it wrong. He was saying like Nostradamus predicted all this kind of stuff, and he was mixing up like the Hunchback of Notre Dame and this and all this stuff. And Tony's
Quasimodo,
just-
he called him
yeah,
Quasimodo.
yeah.
and-
Quasimodo predicted all this,
yeah.
and Tony's like,
What?
"What the fuck are you talking about?" He goes, "You know,
Quasimodo.
yeah, he's the something of." He was the Hunchback of Notre Dame or something. Tony's just like, what the fuck is he? He goes, it's weird too. Like you got your fullback of Notre Dame, and you got the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Tony's just like, the fuck is he talking about? Like he goes, it's not Notre Dame, it's Notre Dame and all this stuff and everything. And you have to watch the scene or whatever, but it's funny because like Bobby thinks he's being like really introspective and like the basically, I mean, it was their first scene acknowledging that this happened in New York City,
Yeah.
I got it.
Turn it back down.
But I could just, my hand was slowly just sliding.
I know.
But so that was like their first time, and it was used with like that kind of humor and stuff about it and stuff. But that was the first time somebody on that show sat down and talked about the terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
And the show kind of took a little bit of a turn with that, because you remember like the FBI agents that were telling Tony got moved over to like terrorist
And they kind of
division.
worked together. Remember, they kinda worked together.
He was
for-
like, "Listen, Tony, like
if you hear anything about any,
remember,
you know,
it's your family that lives here too,
right,
and all
if
that.
you hear
kind of
about any
stuff.
terrorist, any
you'd be doing your country a great
foreign
service.
groups looking to get weapons or something.
And Tony liked that when he was like, "Oh, I could help my country," and that kind of stuff. And then there's a good video about how Agent Harris, like, you started to wonder, like, how close was he to Tony? Not really, like, working for him or anything, but like he was like kind of tipping off where Phil would be, giving him intel, like saying, "Hey, like, word on the street in New York, your crew's marked," and all that kind of stuff. And he was kind of helping. And then they had that thing where they said, the guy pops into Harris's office and he's like, "I just heard Phil Leotardo got popped out on that convenience store, blah, blah, blah." And he goes, "We're going to fucking win this thing." Like he's like he's part of the team now and stuff. But the terrorist stuff really kind of affected that show. But anyway, moving on. So I think I don't have the list of where we went to in front of me, but did we go to just Tony's house after? Well, yeah, we were.
Oh, we went to the Bada Bing.
Bada Bing. Because I knew we dropped the ice cream shop, the Holstons, off of there.
Well, hold on, something's bugging me here.
What
is this thing? This is going to mean nothing to the people at home. Is this thing crooked?
No, it's just
sitting crooked. Because is it?
No, it's kind of
it is.
Okay. For a second, it looked like you built it crooked so that.
It's partly on here and partly on the. It was on the desk and on the pad.
He has this thing holding up like an iPad.
Take it off the pad and you'll see.
Yeah, when it was sitting. No. When it was off the pad, this side looked like it was flat, like because this looked straight, so it looked like you had it flat here and cut one side short to sit on top of your notebook.
No,
it was confusing me why the fuck you would do that.
Because I knew I'd set it on the notebook a lot, so it's like that's how precise I am with my stuff.
It was bugging me the whole time.
This is what I use for my clock when we're doing the thing, and then I never remember.
Always slow.
Yeah, and I always I don't know what it's on right now, but I always am pretty good at starting that when we. I don't know if you need to edit. We record 2 episodes a night and everything.
I think everyone knows
second episode I never remember to reset the clock. Reset the clock and
that
stop.
Makes a lot of sense. That makes sense why some second episodes are an hour and some are 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah. I blame it on you. You're the producer. You're supposed to keep up with
a thing right here.
You got to, You're supposed to let me know. Give me my cues.
And then 2 hours later, we wrap the show.
Don't you remember when I take my phone and go like this in the camera?
Is that what that looks like live?
Yeah.
When you do it on there, that's all I see at that point. Like it's just a bright light coming from your screen. And when you talk, you take up the big box at the bottom. So then it's like this giant light. And sometimes I pay attention to it even.
Yeah, so we went to the Bada Bing.
Bada Bing was cool. I
like that they had a sign out there to
home of the original Bada Bing.
Yeah. I like they kind of lean into that.
Yeah, they're called something else now. What was it?
I mean, they should.
Satin dolls.
Places,
satin dolls, yeah.
Yeah, satin dolls. And I mean, it was always called satin dolls, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, I think they were agreeing. It was always called that.
I think the Bada Bing was a fake name just for the show.
How do you just not change it officially?
Yeah, why wouldn't you change it to the Bada Bing?
I mean, if you have enough of the rights to be able to put up that sign that says
original home.
Yeah.
Wait, but I wonder though if that is a copyright thing, because if it's the original home of the Bada Bing, that is a little bit like it's kind of.
But if you can get away with putting that sign up, can you just leave that sign up and just call it the original home of the Bada Bing?
Put it. What's it called? Say satin dolls.
Yeah,
a small sign, and then one big gigantic sign.
Yeah,
original home of the Bada Bing.
Yeah.
Satin dolls.
I wonder if it's
I'd even put like an FT like it's featuring some satin dolls.
Like I wonder if it's like a difference in them saying this was filmed here versus this is the thing, because then if it's the thing, I bet they have to pay out licensing to HBO.
Yeah.
And they probably get enough business from people,
just
doing,
that sign probably
doing some quick research. Oh it's satin dolls. Let's go over there. Right. I'm sure they without having to pay for anything.
Plus, I wonder since it was satin dolls the whole time, I almost wonder if it's kind of a cool thing on part of that it's like everyone knows that the Bada Bing wasn't a real one, but this is the real one. You know what I mean?
That's one of the small regrets I have from yesterday too. Is we were all it took so fucking long looking for that meat market and stuff. We're all tired and everything. I was curious to go in there to see if it looks inside the way it does on the show, or if that was like more of a set that the inside of the club was, and then you had the outer.
Had the outside.
Oh yeah, I kind of wondered that about the Soprano house as well as we went to. I wondered I assumed that it was actually.
It would have to have like a layout.
I think it was filmed on the inside of the actual house.
It would make sense because like the kitchen would have to be in that
Right.
area.
And they
and
show
look for
like
the pool.
where you
yeah.
can see through the windows of
Right,
the house and you
right.
can kind of see outside. So
That, or they might have done a set that was directly ripped off of the like they went in and got a layout of the house
and then built a set.
and then built a set to
yeah.
to make sure that it made sense with
Because
the
that
house and
made me wonder, like, who owns the house? Did HBO own the house at that point, or did somebody?
And the
else?
other thing too is they would have had to own the house to the right too, because in the first couple of seasons they had a lot of interactions with their neighbors.
Yeah, what was it?
over there? I don't remember what their name
it
was.
ended in a vowel. I'm trying to remember.
No, did it? Because I think they were like anti-Italian people.
Oh, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah.
they were like
the fuck.
DVD player fell off here.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
because
right.
they were always like,
yeah.
we lived next door to mobsters and stuff, and then one of them, I guess, was on the board of a college that Meadow had applied to,
and that's why he was trying to chummy up with him.
Yeah, but then it's like kind of one of the first times where you see Carmela has a little gangster in her, because she was kind of sliding by the office and giving sort of these vague threats about. You're gonna just do this one time,
Yeah,
you know. I know you're saying you don't feel comfortable with it, but it's gonna be okay. Like she was kind of giving the gangster, like whatever,
the passive aggressive, kind of like just one time.
But they were in there, and then I guess Cusimano, that's their name, Cusimanos. But I guess at one point Tony dreamed that there was a girl over there,
right?
And he was even going around town. They went into a restaurant and everything, and he even actually said something to Carmela about it and got in trouble. Yeah. But then they found out, like, he was talking to them later, and they were like, we haven't had anybody staying here. And then he's just like that's a weird episode, because he tries to think because he had been sick, you know how they have those dream things and stuff when he gets sick. Right. So he was doing that. But the one thing that is weird about it is he got into a fight with Carmela because he was looking out the bedroom window and she was hanging stuff on the clothesline out there. And that's when she was kind of giving him some shit, because she's like, yeah, I know what you're fucking looking at out there. So she must have seen her too. So it's like, how did he just dream that entire fight?
I think he,
because they even went into Dr. Melfi's office.
I'd have to watch the episode again, but
yeah, that's kind of a weird episode.
I think we've talked about that before, that you brought up that episode just being weird.
It is. I don't like the dream ones as much as some of the other ones. And that's something too. Like, they talk about Sopranos and how great it is and everything, but they also say, like, the generation of TV watchers now, if they go back and watch Sopranos, it's like everything else. They're going to find it to be a little more slower, and they're going to find it to be a little bit, there's more throwaway episodes, you know, ones that really don't matter in the big screens. You know, you might catch a scene or two.
I like shows that have a good story.
Right.
I don't need explosions and gunfights.
Well, I'm not talking about that even. They would just talk about some of the stories would go at a slower pace, you know. Sometimes there's an episode where hardly
but that was also the first one, though. I mean,
but I'm talking about today's viewers.
Because you got to think, it's kind of like Breaking Bad. I love Breaking Bad, but the amount of people that watched it at the time, especially, were like, Breaking Bad's the most intense show I've ever seen. And then when I watched it, we watched it right off of watching Sons of Anarchy and something else, and I was like, it's great, and I really like it, but it feels slow. Like, it's not this intense show that everyone told me it was.
And they didn't always have to be like that. Like when 24 came out, fucking every episode was like, Jesus Christ, you know, like you're just traumatized. And I think because they had to condense it into all this one day, so every hour counted for something, so they could make television like that. But Sopranos is a slow pace.
Well, but that's kind of what I equate it to, is a show like Breaking Bad, where it's fantastic because the story's fantastic. But it is a slow burn.
I'm okay with that.
I'm completely fine with a slow burn, but it's as long as the story is good.
Because I think you get more invested in the characters that way.
Yeah, but like Sons, they put a stick of dynamite up a guy's ass in episode 1. You know, so like it kicks off, and it just kind of stays at a high.
It starts off at 80 miles an hour, and then just goes up from there.
Right, and like Sons of Anarchy's like that, where I mean, it's like you know, it seemed they may have had a couple episodes where it's like, not a whole lot happened in there. I can see where they progressed.
Every episode,
but most of them were pretty intense.
Really miss and keep up.
Right.
With what's going on.
And same with like Game of Thrones. Like just
you can't miss an episode.
Most episodes, especially, don't miss like episode 9 of any season.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But you know, they would just the intensity, and every episode has a lot of storylines going to keep up with and stuff.
I saw an advertisement recently where they were talking about like the best series finales, like like series, episode, the last episode of season whatever on this show.
Wait, season finales or series?
Season finales is what I meant to say. Sorry, that was my British thing coming out. They call because they call them series.
They call it series.
But so the season finale of the third season of Sons of Anarchy was number one. I'm like, I've been saying that since I saw it. That was
which one was?
That's the one when they kill
Agent Stahl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Opie gets in the back of the bus.
When they do the fake.
That was pretty good.
I was just like, oh my god, that was so fucking.
When you
intense.
start to realize like she got outsmarted.
Yeah, it's great.
And then begging Opie. That was pretty.
Opie fucking splatters her brains all over the front window.
That noise is crazy. Like just the quick oozy noise.
Yeah.
I also remember Jimmy O got killed right before that. That's where
that's the bus thing I was talking about. Where he's like standing
Chip
up,
slices him up.
Yeah, cuts his mouth like he had him, and then take care of our girls for me.
Take care of our girls, Philippa.
So funny story. His daughter, Chibs' ex-wife. Chibs' ex-wife in that show. Remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember what she looked like?
Yeah, Fiona.
Right. She is in Yellowstone. She's the Indian, the female Indian version of Beth that works for the guy
That's
who owns
her?
the casino. That's
Really?
her.
Huh.
Whoa.
That's her. She's a lot darker looking in this show, but
we're
that's
not allowed
her.
to say that.
I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
look like her.
That's her. It is. If you
Huh.
look directly in her eyes, you can see it.
You did the whole IMDb search?
I was gonna say, did
As
you
soon as I
confirm
saw
this?
her, I'm like, yeah, I know who this chick is.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. And then when I pull it up, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that's one of your favorite pastimes.
IMDb, yeah. 'Cause
I
I was
love
Like
yeah,
catching somebody and going,
Yeah, me too.
who
where
is
have I seen?
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And then-
annoy people
and
with
you-
it. I really do.
Like stay on IMDb is kind of like your last resort, right? Don't you try to figure it out in your head for a good while?
No,
Where have I seen her
I'll
from
pull it up right away. Then I'm because like I know because
Yeah.
I watch all the British murder shows and they're all the same same thousand
Rotating
actors
them in and out.
in and out of all these different shows. And
Well, they only have a certain amount that
Vera.
have, like,
You were in
teeth good
season
enough
6
to
of
be on
Vera.
television.
Yeah. There's only 6 of them in the whole country.
Right.
Yeah. And I always try to whenever we talk about this, I always try to aggravate him by like, you can do that on Amazon Prime, right? If you just pause it, it'll
Yeah,
pull
but
it.
it doesn't-
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not enough detail, man.
Not enough
They
detail.
don't give enough.
Because it shows who
It
they,
is a good
who they were
concept, though, don't you think?
Yeah, but it's like, but it says they were known for this. Well, that whatever you say they were known for, that's not
I
what I
think
saw.
you can
in there.
highlight their name and bring a page up, though.
Yeah, but it's
And then they
It's just
have
not the
more.
same.
That's the
I've
whole
seen
thing.
it.
I'll just do
I've
on my
used
phone
it
all the time.
before.
Yeah, it's a
and
lot
been like,
easier
oh
on
yeah,
the
that's
phone.
it.
No,
That's what he was in.
no. I don't
because
like it.
inevitably, as I'll start scrolling through, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
who is that? I know that guy is in that other show with that
Yeah.
chick about that thing. And
I'll tell you what's the most aggravating part of it is
everybody sitting there waiting for you to finish while you got the movie paused?
no, because I don't watch it with anybody
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
Nobody
no.
watches what I like to watch in this house. But is you go to pause it to do it, and by the second you do it, they switch to another scene, so it's like
Yeah,
different
so they gotta
characters
back
now
up.
because they
Well,
only
yeah.
do it for the characters that are on
Right, on the
screen
at that
currently.
time.
So I never catch
You know
who
where that,
is that, and I try to figure it out for too long.
you know where
by
I
the
don't
time
have that problem? IMDb.
Okay,
Sometimes
I'm
it's
just
also
talking about
hard.
using the Amazon
if
one.
you
bro,
don't
that's
know
what we're
the
talking
name of
about.
the character, and you're like, and they get the characters, they're all homogenous. They like kind of all look alike.
Yeah.
So like the big hunky guy.
Why
with
don't
the-
you just
with
use the Google one? Now you don't even have to go to a page. You just put in the thing, hit cast, and find the one, and then
Because I don't
I don't like
necessarily know their name.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I
right.
like to
That's why I hit.
cross-reference
That's
stuff.
why I like to hit the casting because I see their picture.
Well,
and
that's
how
what
I
I'm
know.
saying. A lot of times the picture you can't tell because they may look very different than what you see on your screen. May look very
Well,
different than their IMDb
right, but
picture.
Usually Google uses their IMDb picture.
They do.
But again, if you look at the picture, sometimes you can't go.
Right,
Like,
but you
oh,
just
this
said
must
you
be
use
this
their
guy.
IMDb picture. So
You're not
if Google's using that same picture,
So what's the difference between going to Google and IMDb?
because it's an extra step to go from your Google page that's right there to opening the IMDb. That's
Oh, no, I have
extra
an app.
step.
I don't go on.
Yeah.
I don't go on a website.
I
just
just
have
have
the
it.
app.
I have it pulled up all the time anyway.
I hardly ever use their. I think I have the app on my phone, but I don't use it.
I use that a lot.
I just Google them. I'll just put in.
I wish they had a way to put
I'll just
two
put in
actors
Sons
in.
of Anarchy cast and then bring it up and I'll see who's picture.
But see, that was
when
a
I
good
click on them.
example. So, like, if you look at Sons of Anarchy cast and you go, and so many of these people were in the Shield. I wish there was a way to say who
Like a
was in the,
cross-reference?
cross reference, and you'll find websites and stuff. But I want something that's a little more exact, where I don't have to read a fluff piece to get down to just who was in these two together.
Yeah, and the Shield actually was a show that was out roughly the same time as the Sopranos. That was more breakneck pace too. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like Sopranos, they always give it the this is what started the golden age of television. This is where and I'm yes and no. I know people argue that like The Wire I think was out on HBO before then. Had the gritty drama.
It didn't have the same following as The Sopranos.
No.
Right? I think that's the main reason why you can attribute that to
But
Sopranos.
I do want to caution when we're talking about this tour and all this kind of stuff. If listeners are like, I'm going to go watch The Sopranos, it's a slow, don't expect it to be like that. Like there are episodes like the
we've talked
Dream
about that
episodes. Yeah.
They're few and far between.
Yeah.
They're few and far between.
But there's at least two a season you could probably.
By the time you get to that episode, whatever it is, you're so emotionally invested in the characters anyway, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I like the storylines behind it, even more than just the mob side of things. I like the inner family dynamic stuff, except when it comes to AJ and what's her name?
Kids suck.
God, her
Meadow.
Fucking put them in a fucking burlap sack and throw them in the river.
And another thing that's amazing about that, to your point there, is you can read about all the times the storylines had to change. Like when his mom died in real life, they had to pivot.
Yeah,
she was supposed to be this.
Things.
She was a pivotal character in season 3 because there was this whole arc where she was going to turn on Tony over those airline ticket things.
Right.
I don't know, spoilers or whatever, but there was that was gonna go on. They had to just drop all that
and they,
stuff.
And they used some like
old footage
of her and trying to piecemeal it together.
Yeah.
And you kind of had to go, I get why they had to do this.
They couldn't
do
just
the
to give her
They had
one
to
more
wrap
scene.
something.
but they couldn't do like CGI at that point to make them
And what's
AI.
funny is she knew she was in ill health, and she was telling them like, just do whatever you got to do to wrap my scenes up and everything. And that's why they put
She
that
was
together. They sort of
so
had her
awesome.
blessing.
What a character.
Yeah.
God, she was so negative. She's like,
The worst.
Jeez. God, I don't know.
She was great.
Just kill me now.
Yeah. There's a video where they show like how much Tony despised that, but then they'll show later on, like after she's died, where he'll, oh, poor you, and all that stuff. Like he'll say the same thing she said, like with no regard, doesn't even recognize that he's like
being his mom.
sounds just like his mom. So, oh, poor you. It was crazy. But yeah, her dying, and then 9/11 too was another thing. Like it messed up filming a season, and then they were like, "Well,
didn't they have
this
to
is
push
on
back like a year or something like that?
Yeah. It was a long time in between. That's like common now. It seems like where you have to wait so fucking long.
Yeah,
for like Stranger Things and Yellowwood or Yellowstone. I always buy that Yellowwood lumber down at the hardware stores in my head, but. Nowadays we're waiting for forever for some of the seasons to come out, but like back then, it was like every fall.
Again,
like
because
fall,
you didn't
like,
have to have so much CGI, special effects, explosions, and all that shit.
So
you could just actually just film characters. You already had the set built. Just film the scene.
Yeah, it was forever though waiting for that season, and then they were same thing. It was kind of like we film on location so that it's realistic that it's here. We can't ignore that this happened and not start writing around that and stuff. And we already talked about how like they switched towards like terrorist stuff and all that. That's not exactly what was in the,
it wasn't the plan
in the plans and everything. So it's a really good show that dealt with a lot of shit along the way that actually changed it and all that. And I always hate to give like, it's like David Chase was the writer and everything, but everything I read, he was like such an asshole. It's like you hear about the Kurt Sutter stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's he definitely takes all the credit for Sopranos writing and all that kind of stuff. And you hear from some of the directors were like kind of friends with him. So they got, we can get this done. And they would do several episodes, but then there were some directors were like, fuck this, and never came back. Because he's just always on the set. It's kind of like, why don't you just fucking direct it then? Like, why are you're directing me on how to direct kind of thing? And some people could tolerate it, some people couldn't. But I mean, you have to get him credit for the writing on that show and what he did. But so we left Bada Bing
like that.
What's that?
And being able to pivot like that.
Yeah.
Like some of that stuff, like, well, this just fucked up our whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shows might have just ended. Like, oh, we'll do one more season and wrap it up. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Because it's like, this fucked our whole storyline. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do from here. So we're gonna have to wrap it differently.
It's
and
like
let's
trying to
wrap
go
it
from
early.
one terminal to the other in Newark.
Can't get there from here.
Can't get there from here. But they they did a good job with all of it. And it's a good show. How long has it been since you've gone through that?
Sopranos?
Yeah, has it
when
been
it was on, I guess.
No, I've gone through. It might have been about 10 years ago that I went through watched them all.
I went through it one more time when I moved up here. When HBO Max
I think
started.
it was when you and I started watching it again.
We didn't get all the way through it though.
Yeah. But
have you gone all the way through it?
I haven't gone episode 1 to the last episode. We talked about that when we were talking about like the Many Saints of Newark and stuff.
Yeah. What have you covered?
I don't remember exactly. It's been a while now. It's stuff that like when we talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or sometimes I'm like, I didn't see that episode.
So is that why like some of that stuff yesterday didn't hit with you as much as it?
No, I recognize like the spots we went to, like when we got here and stuff. Like I recognized all that.
Yeah. So the Soprano house thing, I think, might have been. I guess that was probably the coolest thing to see.
Yeah,
like, I was close to like
that
where you get like the goosebumps.
Yeah,
when you just pull. And it's funny too because we were there on like a random Thursday morning, but you can like. You sort of wait for other cars to leave.
We saw 3 or 4 cars. Just pulling in and taking pictures and driving.
And I think
away.
Somebody was coming up the street.
Right. When we were leaving, somebody else was coming in.
Talk about how much it would be great to live in that house. I read a book. There was a guy that was a CEO of Xerox, and he just put out this book, and I actually got it for free at something, and it was actually interesting to read.
A copy?
It was a copy of a copy, but he see
what I did there. It looks easy, but it's not.
He talked about being as a kid in the 70s. He lived out on Long Island, and one day he went outside and there was fucking people everywhere. And as a kid, he was just like, I don't get this. And there would be cars just, what the, he didn't say what the fuck as a little boy or whatever, but his parents explained to him that they lived down the street from where the Amityville house was on Long Island, and that movie had come out, and fucking everybody's just up and down and up and like this is supposed to actually be a haunted house, like it's supposed to be based on a real story.
Where do you land on that?
Amityville?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You think those people actually saw something, or you think it was a total fucking?
I think they've come out a couple of times to say they really embellished a lot of shit.
I think it was pretty much a fucking con job.
Yeah.
I want to believe. I really do, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in haunted stuff.
Yeah,
I've never actually
believe in haunted stuff.
I've never actually seen that movie, so I don't know exactly what they're claiming other than that it's haunted. I think the one guy starts to get possessed, right? Isn't that one of those things where one guy's...
So what really happened in that house is a guy... I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
This is our special Halloween edition.
This guy basically went and fucking killed everybody in his house except for his sister, who was not in the house at the time. Now, allegedly later on, he recanted and said that his sister is the one that actually killed everybody, and he took the rap for it. I think that's how it happened. And so the DeFeo, I think was his last name, Ronald DeFeo, if I'm not remembering. But he kind of claims like, well, no, actually, I was just taking a rap. It was my sister that actually did the killing. But whatever, there was a whole family that was murdered in their beds at that house.
I mean, that's believable.
And the question is, did he go insane because of being in the house and the house made him do it, kind of thing?
Right.
Now, and obviously, some of the shit, yeah. So some of the shit obviously was embellished. I mean, the walls were bleeding. Okay, yeah, it sounds, not saying it's impossible, but yeah, I'd really have to see that, But so obviously there's some Hollywood to it, but how much of it is true? I kind of feel like the whole haunting thing was just bullshit. Quite honestly, the dad who was the father of the family that got killed was
basically an abusive dickhead, and I guess his kids had enough and fucking took out the whole family. But
and I think that's more in his head more than the house telling him. Isn't that the house that Eddie Murphy joke is based off?
Yeah.
Too bad we can't stay.
Though. This is nice. Kids
playing out in the yard.
Nice. Get out.
Too bad we can't stay, baby. Yeah, that was that house, right? Because I think he had talked.
That's peculiar. There's blood in the toilet. That's peculiar.
But so that that happens, and we got to see a lot of the. Like I said, it was just a random Thursday morning, and there's more cars that pull up and down the streets here. Just going up and taking their pictures and all that kind of stuff. It's got to suck.
That'd be annoying as hell.
It would be.
It's probably worse than when Tony would walk down that driveway to see random FBI agents sitting in the cul-de-sac.
His big white robe.
But I agree. The house and the bada bing were the coolest for me, partly because of the questions we were saying too. Like looking at the house and be like, damn, I wonder if that was a set or if they actually filmed in there. And like, what do they do about the neighbors and stuff? Like, it was kind of cool to like sit there and look around and be like, oh yeah, they did do something there. So I wonder how they pulled that off.
No, there has to be some other asshole fan that's like willing to like go up and knock on that door.
Right. So that's I'm not gonna be that guy, but that shit happens.
Yeah.
Or walking around in their backyard. I mean, imagine coming home from work and there's nobody
guy
home.
in your living room.
Or there's a guy walking around in your backyard.
Yeah, looking in the
windows,
pissing in the pool like that one guy did to get it back at Tony.
Oh my God, how often?
I was a Parisi guy.
Man, if people go back there, how often do you think they piss in the pool? I bet it's a lot.
It's
a lot.
Mostly piss.
Yeah.
But do you think
that would suck if that was your pool?
Do you
just
think
got strangers coming over to pee in it?
If HBO owned that house, or they just said,
I don't think they
get out of the house and I'll pay you X amount of dollars per
I would think they probably
episode,
cleared it out.
Maybe it was like one of those Airbnb
Yeah.
situations before they had one. Because I think there are people that'll like own a house and just lease
Rent
it
it
out
out, yeah.
for things like that.
Yeah, but I think there's also sometimes though that like if they're like, no, we want to use this house. I think sometimes certain studios will be like, look, we'll put you up here for 6 months while we film this thing. If we can just have, what are we not allowed to have access to? Like what's that? Like we're gonna take down your family pictures and put up other family pictures.
I'd have a hard time with that, leaving fucking people, strangers in my house.
Yeah.
I guess not so much the house, it's just your shit. You got.
I'd like to hear this conversation. Also, we're gonna need to build some places to hide guns. They had like that column thing where you unlock and there's shotguns all in there. Do you mind if we build some gun safes
like
around
that stuff?
here?
I wonder if they had to build something,
right? Or was that already
to
there?
Put, but if they had to build something to put in there, so that it's like, look, we're gonna take this when we go. We're not gonna do any damage to the house, but I got to build this thing for the show.
I mean, I would expect something like that in a house in Georgia or Texas or something like that. At Jersey,
I don't know how I don't know how hit it would be. Like it'd just be a gun rack out in the open. Like it wouldn't be one of those.
Above,
you got to hit the secret butt on the side of the column or whatever. But
well, we talked about Breaking Bad. I guess that was an issue with that house. Is they used that one house to film in.
Yeah, they used to. Go.
And the scene where they throw the pizza up on the roof.
Yeah.
Then when the show blew up again on Netflix, they just had people drive up to their house and would just throw pizza on the roof of their fucking house. Well, and just leave.
That
scene. That was a thing from
they baked like fucking 25, 30 pizzas,
right?
Because of that, and he hit it on the first throw. The first throw landed the pizza up there, and he went, well, okay, now we got 30 fucking pizzas sitting there.
Any of the cast and crew hungry?
Well, call it a day. Wrap it up.
By the way,
folks.
we planned this pizza party at the same time. Actually, coincidentally, where do you?
Damn it!
Where do you want it?
You talk, he'll adjust.
I'm adjusting to you. Stop moving around.
All right. I'm very helpful. Like I'm trying to participate with you.
No, you're not.
Trying to help. I'm a helper. I'm a doer. So I guess the Soprano house probably wrapped up the tour there, right?
Yeah.
We
kind of just took a tour around the town.
Did the 4-hour track back here.
Yeah, but you kind of drove us through some.
It's funny too because we were on our ride back, and I was like, I think we should listen to this. We should listen to the Regular Guys review, which is a big inspiration on this show. That kind of stuff. I look back, my producers really taking in the knowledge, really getting the spirit of everything.
We've been awake since 4:00 in the morning.
Well, listen, the first couple episodes.
So was I.
When he was asleep, because he slept through the first couple. I listened to those, and then by the time he woke up, I fell asleep.
Kind of missed the first couple, but I was like, glad my producer's really getting the. Well, see, he can sleep through it because he lived through the regular guys a lot before, Before this is all.
I caught some
this
of it.
was a review for him. A lot of you were. This was new information.
Yeah. I got the tail end.
I need to see
when did they go off air?
2013,
which
I think was it.
The last one?
From what I read,
I don't remember.
I was living in Mississippi at the time, so we didn't have it down there.
It was 2013, though.
I read,
it wasn't.
2013. It said that's when they fired Larry, and Eric was still there for a little bit, but then he was kind of like, as soon as my contract's up, I'm not doing this anymore. And that's where he was moving over to
Bailey.
Yeah,
remember Bailey was brought.
Yeah, they brought him
in.
Yeah, they brought him in, and then
and he was funny. I
like Jason Bailey.
But I think Larry saw the writing on the wall too.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy's being brought in to replace me, because they wanted them to do more like female involvement and stuff, like somebody that females felt comfortable talking with and that kind of stuff. These are Larry's words from an interview. He was said that in the office they were telling him, this is so much, we want to broaden the range here, and like you guys talk about guy stuff and all that kind of stuff. And they wanted him it'd be a more well-rounded show with, having more comedy bits and this, that, and the other. And they were telling him, you guys have comedy bits, but y'all are still doing regular guy squares, and y'all are still doing like we need. They just wanted to change it all up. And Larry was kind of like, I knew that's when they were basically saying you're fired.
Yeah, well, because I think because
and what happened to the Rays? They fucking crashed and burned.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened? Bailey was brought in before he was actually gone, though, right?
Yeah,
but that's what I thought, because I know the other.
He said
side
he
of
knew
that,
within like 30 minutes. This is my replacement.
Yeah, well, but the other side of that is Jason Bailey talks about like the Jason Newsted treatment of he had to show up and be the guy that he was getting shit on.
Yeah,
because they were losing their show, and they were pissed off about it. And so it's like, oh, here's my fucking replacement. Like he was just getting shit on every day.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like, you sort of look at Southside Steve as kind of like a cockroach, because he survived everything. Like even with he's the one that was responsible for them getting fired with the backwards porn incident, because he's the one that left her mic on that was playing during the commercials. And then Eric said because his contract was structured differently, it was all just because of wording in a contract was the reason why he was the only one that kept his job there.
So he couldn't get fired for whatever reason?
No, he was basically Teflon somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how, and then like when the regular guy show was gone, it became Southside and Bailey and stuff like that. He's
got such a brand, though.
He's such a brand in Atlanta. Because when Bailey was gone, Southside stayed
on
with,
there,
with Axl Low.
Right. And then they just decided to get rid of everybody. And that was I was actually surprised to see Southside Steve actually finally got his walking papers. It took a lot longer than even you did tell us a long time before, like they're both going to be gone within about 6 months. And it probably went another year from then, but it still happened.
But where I heard that was on Jason Bailey's podcast, because I tuned in because I was like, I want to see what he says about, because he just wasn't there one day.
Right.
Like there was no explaining anything. It was just, Axel's the new guy, and Bailey doesn't work here anymore.
Or they act like he didn't exist.
Yeah, I always tried to find Rodney. Every time it happened with the regular guy show, I'd always try to find Rodney Ho's stuff.
Yeah.
Because he was, he wasn't friends with them, but like they trusted him enough to kind of talk to him. He was the only one they wanted to talk to, like AJC and stuff like that. So,
well, that is actually, you're right. The first episode, I think they didn't address it at all.
Yeah,
they just said for the first week. I think they said once I think they just kind of said the old host isn't here anymore, and he's like they couldn't even say my fucking name.
I remember the second time at 96 Rock when they got fired. Because they had gotten fired before, but they suspend them first, right? And they don't ever tell you anything. So being through it before,
all of a sudden
you get these best ofs.
The best of episodes.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is a second day of best ofs. Like
that's not good.
This isn't good. And then you start to try to look and find information. And back then it was like 2000 something, so there was enough internet to kind of give you places to go to look. And then you find out, oh fuck, and then they realize people are riled up enough to where they've got to make a statement. And I remember when they tried to bring in, was it John Boy and Billy and stuff like that? Like they did try different things, and it just was never going to work with any. And John Boy and Billy was one of those shows like in the South were like all over different places. They were like,
people knew them.
Yeah, other markets would have them, and it was like a mini version of like Opie and Anthony or something like that. Where it's like this is a established show that other parts of the country use their show and everything. Something the regular guys kind of always wanted to get to, but never
be like in syndication. Other
they were in syndicated in like Jacksonville and somewhere else one time, and I remember going through that. I remember Larry trying to adjust to not just talking to Atlanta, like he would start me, and in Jacksonville that he was not used to having to cover multiple markets and stuff like that.
I think with the stage dive stuff, John's gonna fly me out there at some point to do some shows with him, and if I can get him to get his stuff on our network, then we're gonna go on Jason Bailey's radio show out there.
Oh, so that's where Bailey's at now?
He's out in LA. Yeah, he's back in LA. His show's doing pretty good numbers and stuff.
I like the show.
I don't think I ever heard him. Even when I came back to Georgia, I don't think I would.
See, Bailey and Southside was the show
that's that's kind of your generation version of the rock station morning show.
Well, and they had Brandy and Nate on there too, so there was like a full crew of.
I kind of had two, like regular guys for you was kind of like what Christopher Rude was for us.
The morning crew.
Yeah, you would. I remember some of the bits they were doing and all that kind of stuff, but then like
I remember as a kid, I'd listen
the regular
to the
guys in '99 was like
in the car with you guys.
I remember one time at the car wash in '99, I showed up. I think at the Jimmy Carter location. I walked up and he goes, "Have you listened to these regular guys?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, they're on 96 Rock now. I was listening to them on the way to the wash, and it wasn't bad." You were like kind of. I was like, "Oh, listen." And then like within months, we were like, "Did you hear when they did this?" And it just became like a complete
kind of identify with the
right,
humor,
Yeah, that's one of those things, and so we got to meet them in person several times, and that kind of really sealed the. I remember. Do you remember going to I think it was the regular guys' Christmas party. So delivering water, I had a lot of the good prime areas. Like I had Country Club of the South, where like a lot of Braves and Usher and all them lived, and I had St. Ives where John Smoltz lived and all, and I met all of them, right? And at the time, Larry during the morning show would talk about things in his area, and there was he kept talking about this time he got accosted by the Russian at the Home Depot, right? Do you remember that?
Right, I do. Yeah.
And then he was talking about the super richy neighborhood across the street from his neighborhood, right? And then he talked about having the work done on his house and people using the porta potty in front of his house and everything, right? And so because I saw this neighborhood in Johns Creek, and he lived in Johns Creek, he made that public. So I was able to do the porta potty, and then I was like, yeah, then that neighborhood's across the street from St. Ives. But I made the mistake of explaining to him in person that I had figured out. I was like, yeah, and he's just like, no, that's not it. And I'm like, he hesitated too long. Like he more had a holy fuck kind of look at his info. Yeah. And then Nick's over there and two Larrys going like this. Honey, you got a peck of Pollard. So Larry laughed at that, and we kind of let it go and everything. And then I topped it off with going, and look, I got a double Larry T-shirt, and I pulled up like a sweater I was wearing and everything, showing everything. And the guy's like, walk away. It's like, you've had us in your studio before. You've showed us how the board works. This is okay. You know me.
We're buddies.
We're buddies. You showed me how like you use the when they all those little boings and all that stuff that he has in his board. Like he was showing us how he worked. He was I couldn't tell if he was making some sort of weird offer, because we were looking at that and he goes, "What I'd really like to have is somebody to push these for me that knows exactly when I want to hear it and what I want to hear, like instinctively and stuff. And I didn't know if he was waiting for me to go, I can be that guy. I can do that.
I didn't catch that.
No, he was, that was when we were over at the studio. I think you were talking to Eric actually at the time when he was showing me that stuff. But it was good to listen to that stuff too. Like I enjoyed the part right here. Being able to go back and listen to that. I've listened to a couple of them and everything, and he puts them out very infrequently. Like it could go 3-4 months. And then all of a sudden a regular guy's review will pop back up and, he'll have some stuff on there. And there's a bunch more. And there's... Are
they like on good terms still?
I think so. Like, I think the dust had to settle a little bit because it worked out for everybody. Am I allowed to say sort of what he does and compared to what you do? Or is that
I prefer not.
Okay. But like, I mean, you can tell he wishes he was still in radio. But he's doing
that's
this.
Kind of my question. If they're on good terms, why would they not bring back the regular guys?
I don't
as a
no.
podcast
Well, first of all, Eric has his own show on AM 750. He has the Von Hessler doctrine.
So
he has his own career. Like I don't think like if him and Eric aren't working together, I think they can get along okay. I think that there was always there was a lot of tension. He talked about it a lot. They both were interviewed on his. You would have heard it if you had stayed awake and everything. But they talked about how they would butt heads and and I agree with the assessment that I do think Eric got pretty lazy on that show. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna do my news stuff.
Well, I think he felt that way.
Yeah, he didn't put a lot of creativity in the beginning. He did. After a while, he just seemed to sort of be. And I think Larry resented in the fact that he was coming up with all the bits and then giving them to Eric, and here Eric's like half of the regular guys,
Yeah.
But you could tell that was always Larry's baby. And then Eric was kind of not really riding the coattails.
Well, I think Eric was really wanted to do more what he's doing now.
Right.
Which is
he always
political talk and stuff like that. So
he was like the guy who thought that he could be a good, respected journalist, but it's like writing for Mad Magazine or something because he got to do news talk, news jog and stuff on the regular guy show, but it was always goofy, wacky news and everything.
Right,
and he always, like you said, he wanted to do what he's doing now. He wanted to, you saw all his aspirations for like when they were talking about that Tea Party stuff. Remember, he was going to join the Libertarian Party at one point.
Well, also remember when 9/11 did happen, he was. I mean, it obviously went right from being a funny show to just being immediately very serious, and he was one that actually named Osama bin Laden as a possible suspect like within an hour or two of it happening. I remember him talking about it could very likely be somebody like Osama bin Laden who is, and I'd never heard who that was.
Yeah, actually, wasn't that like a whole thing for them? Wasn't that a problem?
I think it's
didn't they have an issue with that he named so soon before they had any I
don't remember there being much of a dust up on
that might have been a behind the scenes thing. I think I heard
maybe
like on one of like Bailey's show or like the Ekman show or something like that maybe Southside or one of them that was around, or maybe it was when Bailey knew enough of them or knew the history of it or whatever. But I think he might have got in trouble for saying it, and like from the what Cumulus, is that who owns them?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that at the time,
I think
96 Rock.
I think someone like that was like, hey, you can't speculate about who this is before we have any information on that.
Oh,
like you can't put that out as
maybe
if
because they went to that whole Richard Jewell.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't specifically say it was him. He said
I don't think it was like a huge.
It was like there are
like, hey, don't do that.
He said there are people like this out in the world who want to do
this. He knew who
this.
that was before it was a household name.
Right.
And I want to clarify too. I guess it's like you shouldn't. I don't want to say he was lazy. Like we talk about him being lazy. I think his heart wasn't in the show.
Right.
Like he definitely was a hustler and he was working on shit and doing stuff. But like the show itself,
right?
Like Larry kind of would play him off as being lazy and all that kind of stuff. Lazy towards the show, but I don't think he was like a lazy human being or anything like that.
That makes sense if that's what he
his
wants
heart
to do.
So that's why I don't think he'd ever do a podcast because he frankly does not need to.
Well, no,
and
he doesn't need to.
I've heard Larry talk about podcasting to somebody, and he was saying there's some money in that, but I can't make a career off of podcasting.
That's just not
which
true.
is why we jumped into it. I don't know, like his perspective.
I mean, look at the millions we're rolling in.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
but I'm saying, but like
He missed the boat on that, didn't he?
obviously, this is the most extreme example, but like you can't say Joe Rogan didn't make a career off of
Right, but I
his
think
thing, which, again, that's the most extreme.
Yeah, for
example,
everyone,
right?
Rogan,
everybody knew who
there's-
Rogan
yeah.
was from a lot of
Right,
know,
but like Two Bears, One Cave, they've spoken
but again,
on the
they
show
have a
about-
national.
I know, but
They're one in
I'm
a
saying-
million.
Eric is. I mean, Larry
saying
is
the
still a
regular
local
guys-
DJ. He didn't have a national radio
I
show
know.
to fall back. So
but
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying the regular guys was a name that people like fans that like were a fan of the regular guys.
local
They'll
though.
tune in
Well,
now.
I mean, there's
And
people
that's
in LA
enough
still like them,
Right,
you
and
know,
that's enough to get
Maybe.
sponsor money on there though, like a good deal. It just seems like
Tell him, not me.
to grow it. Yeah,
yeah, it just seems like they like they would do really well with.
Well, I
something
think
like
that's-
they'd have a better start than.
Yeah.
and I bet you'd
most
have
anybody
people
else.
like Burt Kreischer who
Right.
has talked about the regular guys
Yeah,
being
But
a
at the
fun show in
time-
Atlanta. Like those guys would prop it up. You know?
But at the time, I think that podcasts weren't that way. He knew he needed to make money.
Oh, no,
he
I mean
went
right
into the
now.
industry he's in now. Well,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is
Yeah.
now I think he's doing that thing with them
Yeah,
there, and he misses it, but like he does these regular guy reviews, and I think that sort of gets it out of his system a little bit.
Right.
And he sees it like it's just going to be a hobby. I'm going to reminisce about the good old days.
Yeah.
You know,
and a
every
lot of
few
he
months.
doesn't have to put a lot of behind the microphone time on that more than just cutting up. Oh, this was a great
That's
great
right,
clip.
right, yeah.
Here's a 13-minute
Yeah,
clip, and I'll
yeah.
kind of preview and
Yeah.
outro this clip
Yeah.
into the
I
next.
was just
clip.
thinking if they, like today, if they really advertised it and stuff like that, if they did one a month, I bet they would get pretty good
Yeah.
sponsor money.
I don't know if he, maybe he does, but I don't know if he actually realizes just how good he is at that kind of stuff. Like listening to him even reflect on the old stuff,
Yeah.
giving it like
He's a very good host.
how I feel now about what was
Mhm.
going on back then and stuff. That was, I liked listening to that. And
Yeah.
he tells a good story that way. You know,
And he's funny.
Yeah. Cause he has no problem making fun of himself.
Yeah.
Right.
He has no problem making fun of other people, all that kind of stuff. So, and they always say, like, if you're willing to make fun of yourself, and, you know, be the butt of the joke and stuff, much like I am on this show.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think that's a pretty cool.
I wouldn't want people talking about my teeth as much
But,
as they
but
were
the
talking
funny
about
shit,
it on
like
there
he'll
and
break
stuff.
out the megaphone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and the he comics.
He does like
Yeah.
the zombie Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
You know, that shit was funny as
No
hell.
brains.
Right, but I'm saying, but he's really good at that. But I feel like,
And it's always that weird combo. Why is it Ronald Reagan that's a zombie?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. But I think he's a good host though, because partly because like him being able to do that by himself. It's a little bit like the Bill Burr thing, you
Yeah.
know, like Burr just being able to like talk for an hour the way he does and it be entertaining.
Mhm.
I feel like it's part of why he's good at like
He's-
doing
he's
interviews
not
and stuff.
interacting with
Mhm.
somebody. Yeah,
Right, but I think it's part of why he's good at interviews and stuff is because he has the ability to do it completely on his own.
Mhm.
So he has no problem bouncing back and forth with a person and there not being a lull in the conversation. Yeah.
And I don't know if like coming from radio helped that too, because radio,
Yeah.
it's 4 hours. You stretch it out. You've got but you get your commercial breaks where you can just, okay, in 15 minutes, I'm out for 5 minutes and
Yeah.
stuff. You get a break and you can gather your thoughts
When,
again.
when we
together.
come back, we're going to talk
Yeah,
about this.
and then
kind of
come
thing,
back
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was all more structured and stuff. Like it's something we try to achieve on this show all the
Mhm.
time of like the
Fail
structure,
miserably.
but yeah,
But it's
Every
also the
time.
reason you intro the show.
right. And
you're
that's
good
the
at-
one thing that we do like a regular show would do in this sense for the most part. And now we're trying to get, you know, our segments in and
Yeah.
having that
but
kind
I mean,
of stuff.
intro,
so
outro, you're really good at being that guy for us. You know, like
I
you're
suck
good at
it.
being able to be the dude that's
Suck
But
like,
you
at
don't
it.
suck as much as we do.
yeah, well,
Okay.
but being the guy that like, hey, we're here, like bringing in the show
Yeah.
isn't the easiest thing for a lot of people. So like everyone needs a show that has the ability to have a guy kind of direct the
Run
ship a little
point.
bit.
I always wonder about, you hear about like different people who did things and everybody loves their work, but you talk to them and they're like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I suck at it. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
should never be fucking doing this. All that kind and I always find myself like, I don't know if they feel this way, but like being the person.
Yeah.
Now, do they say that, but they actually are good at it and they just don't have the belief in themselves? Or do sometimes I'm like, do I think I suck at it and stuff, but actually suck at it. You know, like I'm actually
Yeah.
I'm actually right on the nose with my feeling.
No,
like I'm actually right.
I suck at this
Because like doing the intros
other
every
people
time.
agree. Other people agree. I suck.
They're my friends. They're supposed to tell me that I'm good at it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, every time we start hearing that laughing on the intro, so I'm like, fuck, what the fuck am I gonna say? It's like this panic. Oh shit. It's gonna take me about 30 minutes before I even feel like I'm getting into the show and all that kind. Sometimes I do think the show before the show helps with that.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
then all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, we are losing good material at the same time too. So it's like a double-edged sword, but gotten at least into a groove of talking together again.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy the show before the show, and we should just record those.
I do some of them.
Release them.
I got some snatched.
This has been a Sayge Media production.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.